Tuesday. You know what that means. Coming at you with a brand new hockey happy hour. We got Flyers and Blue Jackets live reactions. We're about end of the second period. We're also going to talk JVR on the trade block. We're also talking a little bit of the Kevin Hayes situation. Got a lot on our plate, so let's get to it. Let's talk some puck.
Oh my God! I'm embarrassed! He's flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the hour. We are .com for another live reaction to the Flyers. There's a lot of news on in Flyer land. Some tragic news and some interesting news that we'll dive into as the show goes along. But we welcome you all once again. I am Matt Sudi, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
I want to wish everybody an early Merry Christmas. What's going on?
Yeah, Brian's got the Christmas sweater, Minnesota Wild jersey, rocking it.
It's right Christmas tradition, man. You got to keep it
holiday. Of course. And the broken one, Rob Povia.
Now I have a machine gun too. Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, I watched that not too long ago. Man, that thing still holds up to this day. And yes, it is still a Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody says.
100%, Maddie. Took the words right out of my mouth.
All right. So we are reacting to the Flyers Blue Jackets. Right now it is 3-2 for the Flyers, who recently took the lead off of a goal from Owen Tippett. The second period just came to a close. And we will react to the third period. Hopefully the Flyers can hold on to the 1-goal lead, or maybe they can add more. Hopefully. We'll have to see. You don't really know what you're going to get for 20 minutes. You really don't. But before we dive into our topics, start us off with our main sponsor for tonight's show, which is always the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal over at Flyers Physical Therapy. It's a ache or a pain of some kind that you might have that's come maybe for whatever, especially if you're doing manual labor as your work or what have you. The doc is the guy to go to, drpaulvidaltherapy.com. You make an appointment with him, and then when you do that, then all you got to do is go to either Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey. And the doc's got a great team out there on both sides, and they'll take care of you. They'll make sure that those aches and pains go away, and you'll feel like new when it's all said and done. And let's see here, the poll question sponsor before we see if you're planning on having a holiday feast or what have you, which most people you do, you spend it with those that you love, your friends and your family. Go to Baggio's Bread, located in bread, tomato pie sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. All you got to do is mention A2D and you get 10% off of your in-store purchase. So if you're in the Mount Laurel area or not too far away, and if you're having bread, because that'll be the spot to go to. Really good dinner for the ones you care about for Christmas and whatnot. All right, and now the poll question. The Flyers still have a chance for the playoffs. Agree or disagree? And now this is where I turn the floor to you, gentlemen. Do the Flyers still have a chance? Or are we done? Are the Flyers officially dead in the water for the season? Gentlemen, take it away.
Let me jump in, Brian. I told you, if you've been following along with this show, that the season would be over when the calendar turned November. And sadly, I was right. You know, they fell off the cliff after that 7-2-2 record. And some of it's been regression by the youngsters. Some of it's just been a gauntlet of great teams that they had to go through on the schedule. But a ton of it's been the injuries to this team. I don't want to keep on beating a dead horse, but, you know, you look at Jamie Baskow of Flyers Nitty Gritty. You know, he comes out and talks about how Coots hopes to return in late February or early March. And he's going to see the doctor this week. You know, Cam Atkinson, we already know what's going on with him by now. If you don't, he had a setback with his neck, getting surgery tomorrow, Wednesday, December 21st. Bad Christmas gift for him. His season's over. Good thing is that his career doesn't look to be in jeopardy, but his season's certainly done, and hopefully he'll be healthy come 2023-24. But you're minus. I mean, the Flyers have over $20 million this season on either on long-term IR or out with season-ending injuries between Brinks, Ellis, Coots, now Atkinson. This team does not. It just does not. I mean, we're seeing some firepower tonight and some answers, you know, to a equally struggling Columbus team tonight. So I don't know how much you can go by that, but the mass of the games have shown that this team can't hang with the big boys. There's not a chance that they're sniffing the playoffs. I'm going to strongly disagree.
No, I think honestly, I think this is a slam dunk one here, boys. I do, and I think it's a strong disagree as well. I mean, you're looking at this team, you know, that's essentially aggressively retooling, and they're in the toughest division in hockey. You know, they're in the toughest division in hockey. They're playing against some of the biggest dogs in the fight. Coming into this year, you got teams that are starting to come out of the rebuild as well that are starting to perform, i.e. the New Jersey Devils. It's just a tough situation. And yeah, you bring in the injuries. Your top dogs are all hurt, and they're all out for the year. So, you know, Coots is done for the year. Ellis is done for the year. Atkinson now done for the year, but it's a double-edged sword for Atkinson because his wife is due for their, I think it's their second baby in 3 weeks.
Yep.
So it's a double-edged sword for him. So he'll get to spend the year with the baby. So good for him there. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. You know, you're getting you're seeing good things from this team, but a lot of the times this team just shows no finish. And that to me is the big thing. You know, they're still very pass heavy. You're getting some good production tonight from some of the guys that you want to see production from. Like TK's got a goal. Tippett has another goal. He has a third goal tonight. So you're seeing the production from some of these cats, but ultimately injuries and being in the toughest division in the NHL, who, if you look at all the other rosters, are all still healthy. It's a tough situation for them to be in. And you know what? I'm okay with it. This season wasn't about wins and losses anyway. This season was about getting player development done. You know, seeing where you are, seeing where some of these prospects are. Maybe it's an opportunity you start bringing some of the young guns up. Tyson Forster, give him a shot maybe. Zane Wisdom, maybe, just to see what they got. I mean, we'll see. I mean, trade deadline's coming. See what happens.
Yeah, I'm getting we got a bunch of comments in Flyers groups that I shared the show in tonight, and specifically William Schoeninger goes, that's a big negative. So they're in agreement with you, but you know, hey, one thing I will disagree with you, Brian. Hey, we might see Coots in February, late March. Yeah, that's gonna make a difference. Sorry, floor's yours.
I get it. I mean, I'm chalking him up as done for the year because by that point, what's the point? Like Johnny was saying, what's the point of him even coming back at that point? So I'm gonna chalk him up as a done for the year because you also got to think if he does come back in February, it's gonna take him a little time to get in the game shape. He's got a lot of rust he's got to knock off. He hasn't played in like almost 2 years, so I'm really not gonna consider him a return until next season. So that's kind of why I'm placing him in that done for the year. But I get it. I mean, they need him back. They need him back more than anybody else on the roster. You know, he's the leader. He's your first line center. He's your best two-way player. If he can get back to any form of what he was this year before the season ends, that's a win. It's a win in my book, and it just gives you something much better to build off of going into next year.
All right, so let's take a look at the fan here, see what they've got. Chuck saying, yo, gentlemen. What's up, Chucks? We have John saying, Merry Christmas, everyone. Brian, you're my boy. I hope some pretty lady keeps you in the penalty box for roughing and high sticking. Get that double minor, brother.
Actually, it's funny he says that.
Brink saying a chance at the plus, really, guys? Hey, listen, if I can get a reaction out of anybody, that's why I throw out these poll questions. And it seems like I might have pissed a few people off. That's it. I'm going to cash in and go home now. And let's see here.
You see flashes of this young, you see flashes of what the young players on this team can do, you know, and you see that maybe a lot of teams aren't exactly separating, maybe aren't doing as well as we thought going in preseason. So yeah, I mean, it is only December, but I get where Brinks is coming from. But I mean, despite the promise, you just can't replace the veterans that are going on injury. You just can't do it.
Absolutely.
And we got John saying, laughing my fucking ass off. Are you kidding me? This is an empty net goal. Disagree. And then Anthony also said, the fly 23. Are you sure? Are you willing to stake money on that?
Get a tattoo.
If you are, then okay. You're
tattoo it now, bro.
Let's see here. John also saying, what's the take the entire year off? Well, I mean, Coots can have a chance to at least maybe get some play in time. I'm not. I'd rather have him have a little bit of time on the ice to work out the kinks from his injury and shake off the rust than him waiting into next season where he hasn't played in an entire year. So to me, it's like, even if the season's lost, you know what? Let Coots get a chance to work a little bit. You know, you got nothing to lose. Lost. Go ahead, just let Coots play.
Yeah, but on that point, Matty, too, you also have to remember that could also lead into not having somebody take a chance to see what they have at the NHL level too. So if you think about it, you got Coots going in the training camp next year. So whatever work that he misses out on this year, he can always make up for there too. So yeah, let's keep that in mind as well.
And if you could get some healthy games underneath them this season, all the better.
Don saying,
no, true.
I mean, either way, you're fine. Either decision you make, really, you know, you can have him. Either way, it's not the end of the world. No matter what you choose to do with Coots this year, since you weren't competing for a play. Don, what's up? And he also says, "Happy holidays to you guys."
Same to you, brother.
Happy holidays to you.
Keep those Lions winning.
Yeah.
Something I never thought I'd hear.
Drake's on Brad.
Oh, we weren't supposed to tell him.
My bad.
Oops. Oh, well, in that case, Brad, you got a bill coming your way.
Oh, well.
Down there in Aruba. Hope you're enjoying yourself, Brad.
And He wanted to mention that his team is going like 7 in a row. So he wanted us to mention that live on the show. There you go, Brad. We did it for you, brother.
We're going streaking in the quads.
Yeah.
There's more behind me. They're coming. Cold out there, Frank?
Here. And John's saying, "You guys want to hear a joke? Two shitty hockey teams wall into a bar, aka tonight's game."
Yeah. What a shitty contest for the last home game of 2022.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those contests wind up being the best, though.
Yeah, I've seen a good game.
Yeah.
Just offensively, seen some plays.
Don's like, playoffs? You kidding me? Playoff?
Usually that's what we say about the Lions, but this year we can't even say that because they're in a spot for playoffs right now. Wow, what world are we living in?
Now, are they solidified? Have they clinched? Have they clinched a spot yet, or do they still have to win a little bit in order for them to?
They still have to win a little bit. I think the Giants and the Commanders still have the 2 wild card spots, but they are in the bubble. They are definitely in the fight. They're definitely in the fight.
Interesting. Well, since I don't watch, I'll know for a fact whether or not the Lions made the playoffs or not. Don will probably not be here if the Lions miss. Let's see.
Don that week.
Greg saying, fellas, yeah. Hey, Greg saying, fellas, see you in a few minutes. So, yes, we will be seeing Greg in a bit. So I don't miss this team reaching the postseason. I don't really want them to reach it anyway. It's like, you know what? It's okay. Let's get a good draft pick. Fuck it. You don't need to fucking go to the playoffs just to get eliminated in the first round.
Sorry, Maddie. Bill's on you if the Lions don't make it. That's gonna be a big bill.
Really?
It's gonna be a big bill there, Brody.
You send the bill at the Lions, they'll make it Don. Oh, okay. All right. Then. Nice long bill, you're saying, and it'll probably be just cups and cups of Don's tears. Not doing anything this year for any Detroit team. So, let's see here. John, old school, the poster on the telephone pole says the party is on Thursday, but Frank the Tank talks about the nice Saturday Bed Bath and Beyond.
I don't know if we'll have time to do both. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes.
Hey, yo, you want to hit this? You want to hit this? He wants another one. He wants another one.
So,
I love that movie. That's such an underrated movie.
Let's see here. We got American Loyalist saying, why does Chuck Fletcher have? Because the Flyers rushed to fill the spot that they made Hexall out of. But unfortunately, it doesn't. I don't think he'll be let go this offseason. So I'm sure it is.
All right. So real quick, just to jump back to American Loyalist comment real quick. So here's my question for anybody out there that wants to replace Chuck Fletcher. I know where this answer is going to go. Who replaces him? That's my only question. Who replaces him? I know that a lot of people are going to say Danny Briere, but realistically, let's say Danny Briere is not an option. Who replaces him? There's nobody out there right now. I mean,
you can always find somebody.
I mean, yeah, you can always find somebody, but
is it any better than what you got right now? He has the unenviable task of dealing with a rebuilding team. So it's like not much flack, at least in the organization, is going to fall upon him. All the, like I've been saying from day one, if you see this team playing hard and competing, even if it's in a futile effort, he's doing his job.
And I agree. And I think you're seeing that this year. You're seeing a much better effort. They may not be getting some of the wins, but they're playing with a much better effort this year than they did last year. And like that's also my thing too, is like you guys want to sit here and climb. Well, obviously not YouTube, but the fan base wants to sit out here and clamor fire Chuck Fletcher. Okay, who do you bring in? All the loyalists want to bring in. Well, loyalists want to bring in Danny Briere. Who's to say Danny Briere shouldn't do any better in this situation? It's a tough situation to be in, period. You're in a rebuilding team. You really have to see what you have talent-wise. And Chuck Fletcher, in my opinion, is doing the best that he can at the moment with what he has. And it's not a lot. There is some talent coming. Bobby Brink's on the way. Cutter Gauthier on the way. Tyson Forster's on the way. I think Tyson Forster could be up next year.
Yeah, speaking of Cutter, real quick, Brian. Speaking of Cutter, congratulations out to him. Made Team USA for the World Juniors that are getting set to commence. So that's going to get him a lot of good experience playing with some of the best in the world.
No, absolutely, and I think he's already in Canada for the tournament. So,
right,
I think he's already there. And that's the thing. Like, also, like jumping back to the GM question is, you bring in Danny Briere. Yeah, he's a good player. I got nothing but respect for Danny, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a good GM. How many GMs have we seen in the NHL just completely fail? That's all I'm saying. Is just who you bringing in. That's my question. Y'all want to fire him? Who do you bring in? And don't say Danny Briere because I don't know if he's necessarily an option.
It'll be a debate that we'll continue to have as the offseason comes in and everything over pretty much the Flyers until we basically see the team doing something better than what they're doing now. Because has he been perfect? No. Has he been completely at fault? No. This team just had many years of just making stupid decisions and half-baked ideas. It's finally all coming together to create a mishmash of that we've been seeing over the last couple of seasons. Now it's like, okay, how do we get out of this? Well, best option is to invest in youth talent. That's the best option, and just right because whatever the hell we did in the 2010s, boy, did it do a number on the Flyers. It really did a bad number on them. So let's see here. John saying, yeah, Don. I'll let my whole lady give ever. Flyers make the playoffs.
What'd I do?
I just saw your comment. Sorry.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
The whole year. Sorry. Go ahead, Maddie.
In response to Brian's comment of Brink has a hip injury and is probably not playing, this decides to throw this out for everyone to see.
Yeah, well, Anthony, he put out the comment, Bobby Clark will be the GM because he just doesn't go away. And I went like herpes. I meant to put a question mark.
It's all right. I still got a good laugh out of it. Anthony, no. I pretty got it. Okay, Flyers did score.
So there you go.
TK again.
I believe, and it is now 4-2.
Sure. He's lagging on the broadcast, but you know what? When it comes to the game, he's ahead of me by a minute and a half. Tell me how that makes sense.
Even when I'm lagging, I'm still ahead of you.
That's what I'm saying. That makes no sense. I don't like this. I don't like this game anymore.
Just off another gorgeous hands play move, man, making the defense skate back on their heels. That's how he got the shorty earlier in this game, boys. I mean, it was really a shot that the goaltender should have saved. They're light on goaltending tonight, but that move right there, just another gorgeous hands play move, that's another goal for TK.
Yeah,
building
absolutely.
up that trade value. Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, that first goal that was pretty because I mean, if you listen to his intermission interview, he said he wasn't even planning on shooting there, but because of where the defenseman kind of wound up, he had no choice. So it's a good thing he shot there. And you know what? This is what I was saying earlier too. You're getting the production out of TK. You're getting productions out of the guys that you need to get production out of. You just got to get healthy. And I think we're looking at a whole different situation with this team.
Mm.
Even Frost is starting to score.
Yeah, you can't really bark at what the top two lines have been doing. You know, I mean, like Frosty's been showing good chemistry with JVR and Tippett. You know, and then Kate's, you know, Farabee playing better back out of the doghouse, playing on that second line. So, I mean, overall, it's been good, but with injury, you know, TK also on that line as well. Let me not forget about him, 2-goal scorer tonight. But despite this good play, right, you also have a veteran that is healthy, but is getting healthy scratch. I know you boys wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. I know we're about to get a visitor probably pretty soon, but I don't know if you wanted to address that now or later. But I mean, during the game would be a good time to talk about it because overall, I haven't really seen Kevin Hayes make a mark on this game tonight. Have you boys?
I have not at all. No.
No, I haven't either. So I'm in with a little holiday greetings to everybody. None other than himself. It's Greg Malakovic. Welcome, Greg.
This
How are
guy.
you?
It's Oprah Malakovic. What's up, fellas? How are we, boys?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
It's going, brother. It's going. It's going.
Tough year for the
Doing
Fly
well,
guys.
brother.
Tough
Doing
year for
well.
the Fly guys.
It's an understatement. Could be worse.
Yeah,
Could be Anaheim.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, but at least they know what they're doing, right? I think it's part of the Flyers' issue is they don't know what they're doing.
True.
They're kind of stuck in that limbo area, right?
Yeah, that philosophy. Yeah.
You know, they're kind of stuck in. You hired too good of a head coach to be as shitty as a team that you are. You know, and I don't think you're ever going to trend.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to trend for that number one pick with a Twitterello as a coach. He's just too good of a coach.
I agree.
It doesn't help when you have Kevin Hayes on a 2-on-1 just shoot about a foot wide of the net. That doesn't help.
No, that doesn't help either. That's got to be on frame. But if that's one of your young guys, you chalk it up as being young, right? If that's one of your young guys, you chalk that up as, hey, at least he's in the game. At least he's getting some experience. When that's your highest paid guy at this point, right? You know what I mean? That's your quote unquote captain right now, right? With Coots being out and some of the other injuries going on. Yeah, that's unacceptable. That's got to be on frame. No doubt about it.
That was that definitely contributed to a couple of the things that came recently hit the Flyers.
Yeah, I saw that the other day, and while I was on, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys enjoy the benchings and the sittings and the accountability in such a strange year? Is that something that you guys think is a good thing, or is it again just show pony being Twitterello is what he is?
I personally, I love it. I love the accountability. That's something they didn't have last year. There was a huge lack of accountability last year. I like that he's setting the big guys, setting them as an example for the younger guys to say, hey, if you're not playing the game the right way that I want you to, you're going to sit. And with Kevin Hayes, yeah, I get he's been a very productive player. He's essentially a point per game player this year, and I love that. But on the defensive side of the puck, he's been a huge liability.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's something that's been huge all season long is these turnovers, and it's costing him goals. It's costing him games. So
Yeah,
Torch has just had enough of it. And I love that because that's going to set the tone for the younger guys saying, hey, this is how we play. This is my system. This is how it works. This isn't your game. This isn't your system. This is mine. This is how it works. This is how we're doing it. This is how we're going to succeed. You have to follow the plan. And if you got to set an example with Kevin Hayes, you set an example with Kevin Hayes. I love it. Sit him.
I'm so glad you said that, Brian, because you could think this could be Torts being Torts, where you're going to bench the guy that's leading your team in points, albeit not a high point total, but he's still leading your team in points. But it's a defensive liability.
Mm-hmm.
It's plays like we just discussed going down, and then our good friends over at Flyers Nitty Gritty reported yesterday. They're one of the first that did. Kevin Hayes quotes that really showed some pointed words for his coach and already showing a potential rift between Torts and Hayes, where he goes, I'm never going to say there's a benefit to being benched. I'm sorry. I don't think I should have been benched, but it's not my decision. If you can't be accountable at the highest level, how do you expect the boys at the bottom to be accountable?
Exactly. And you're wearing a letter on New Jersey too, so you have to be a little bit more accountable.
Yeah. I get all that, right? But I look at this season as a whole, and it's like it's already a disaster, right? And you figure most of these guys, at least on their contract, are going to be here past Tortorella. You know what I mean? So, like, in all honesty, it's like, yeah, you're going to play the game I want you to play, but then there's going to be a new coach comes in 2 years that's going to be asking for the same thing, if not different, right? You know what I mean? And I understand where you guys are coming from because you're right, we haven't seen it in a while. But it's also I just see like this year almost as it is again. It goes back to the organization in my mind having no clue on what they want to do and hiring the wrong guy from Jump Street. And not that Tortorella's a bad coach. I just don't. For me personally, just didn't think it was the right fit for this team in how young they were going to be and how up and down this season potentially was going to be.
I thought that at first too, Greg, but he's really being shown as a good teacher of the game to these young kids, and he's building something from the core. You even see it in the pressers or whatnot. I do think he was actually the good hire and could potentially be here for the long term. So I like setting the mold now if it works out that way. Have I seen it worked out the way that you just said, where a coach comes in, you're listing my system, and 2 years later it's another coach marking the same thing? I could easily see it going that way too.
We saw it with Vigneault a couple years ago, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I mean, we've seen it even in-house here, right? So, no, and Robbie, that's great. It sucks because down here, obviously we don't get a lot of the games, and they're always streaming if they are on down here, and it's just it's almost more of a hassle to go find them, at, being as bad as they are, as opposed to just turning on NBC Sports up at home, right? You know what I mean, and just having them on and stuff like that. So I don't get to watch much of them, but I do try and pay attention at least to the news and stuff like that. So.
I know the feeling, brother. I got that same issue.
We got a John throwing $5 at us.
Johnny
Thanks,
boy.
John. Saying, Greg, the Flyers make me want to drink a lot of beers. If not these three handsome guys and an old fart Rangers fan, I wouldn't know what's going on in the NHL.
Why you my boy, Johnny? That's why you my boy.
Johnny's the best.
But real quick, I'm going to jump back to Kevin Hayes real quick because I want to bring up something that Scott Hartnell had wound up saying while playing under Torts in Columbus was that he had gotten benched by Torts for a couple games because of his play, playing similar manner. Worked out better for him in the long run for his career. Now, granted, he wasn't the best skater in the world, but he was not as reckless with the puck here as he was with Columbus before, ultimately calling it a career. But
right,
sometimes you just need that fire lit under your ass, and it all depends on how you want to take it. Do I think it's justified? Absolutely. I know Kevin Hayes thinks otherwise, and that's fine. But you have to take it as what it is, and it's just an opportunity for you to just learn. It's not.
Yeah.
He's not doing it to be a dick. I promise you that.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want the team to start, and you're seeing the effort from Torch, which I think this is what makes it a good hire now. Because if you're looking bigger picture, which is I'm always doing, in the long run, it's going to pay huge dividends for these young guys moving forward. And Torch, to Ted's point, more than no, never mind. I'm going to go opposite his point as always. He's going to be here. I read it at a glance. I just literally skimmed through it. I didn't see that isn't going to be here.
This is why you don't skim your when you're reading something. You don't skim it. You read it.
I'm skimming because I'm talking as I'm reading. I'm trying to get, but no, I think Torch is going to be here in the long run when this team starts competing. I'll say it. I've said it a couple times. I'll say it again. I think they're about 2 years off from being a competitive team. They just need to get some of these young guys up and get some of these other vets out of here.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's good insight there. But I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. We are day 2 of Greg and A2D's 12 days of giveaway. I don't know if Maddie, do you have the photo in the background, or does somebody have the photo?
I probably do. Let me go take a look here, see if they have it.
Just because it's fun to see my face on an Oprah body. That's all. You know what I mean?
Is that what that was? I just thought
it's just fun seeing my face on Oprah's body, right? I mean, it's like, who doesn't want to see that, right? Like,
all right.
I'd even pay for that.
See. Let's see if I can find it. I should be able to, I think.
But as we get ready, as Maddie looks for that, though, the only stipulation to be in this drawing is you must be a YouTube member subscribe to our YouTube membership over on, obviously, YouTube for $9.99 a month. Everybody that does subscribe gets put onto our wheel, and we will spin the wheel to give away some prizes. There it is. I mean, how awesome is that? That's just phenomenal. I mean, who doesn't love my face on Oprah's body?
Listen, you got to sell the brand. You got to sell that brand.
So we are giving away prizes. We have some jerseys, some tickets coming up, some gift cards from some of our sponsors. Just as if today, right? So today we are going to give away $25 to Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Is one of our newer sponsors. As we mentioned last night when we gave away the Gleasons, if you are not in the area, let me know. If you win and you're not in the area, we'll just Venmo you the money and just give you cash. But we are going with Baggio's Bread, $25 gift card to Baggio's. I think Ralphie is in the background. Matt, if you want to take down that photo.
Sure.
Ralphie, if you're there, let's throw up the wheel, brother. I know there was a little bit of controversy after last night. We spun the wheel twice, and some people got a little butthurt. But we like to warm the wheel up a little bit. We like to warm it up a little bit. Now you want me? I want to spin it like 7 times now, just to piss even more people off.
So,
Ralphie, you back there?
Actually, Ralphie is not here. Hold on a second.
He's the only one with the wheel?
Yeah.
He's the only one with the wheel. Whoops. Okay, then. So
I'll get him.
I just texted him.
Okay, never mind.
But here's the gift card to Baggio's. I was up there this weekend. Got me another stuffed pepperoni bread. They're Stromboli. Oh, my goodness. The Baggio's is delicious. Again, 10% off with the code E2D. So this $25 gift card is really what? $27.50, right?
With inflation and taxes and whatnot.
Yeah.
If we can't get Ralphie on the horn, I got a suggestion for a contest. You got to find my hockey elf on a shelf in my frame. First one to finds it.
Oh, somebody going to say gritty. I'll say I win.
But Baggio's is delicious. They got a whole bunch of fresh food up there. Located in Mount Laurel, E23 Eastgate Drive. Some phenomenal food and snacks and cookies and stuff like that. Everything I've had there so far has been delicious.
Yeah, I plan on hitting up there when I get up there in January.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Ralphie has arrived.
Ralphie's here. There we go. Let's go. Throw up that wheel,
All
brother.
right, then. So,
Ralphie, again, we're going to spin it twice, brother. You know how we do this. Hopefully we piss some more people off.
Oh,
warm
boy.
it up. Warm it up. Let's go.
Warm up that wheel.
This is exciting.
Mason for 3. Sorry, brother. But look, we only got 22 names in the drawing. You're gonna end up winning something. Here we go. And the winner of the Baggio's $25 gift card is Wayne Miller.
Wayne Miller. There you go. Congratulations.
He won last night. Look at that. Wins tonight.
Nice.
See, it all works out, Wayne. It all works out. So Wayne Miller, I will go when you get a chance, Wayne, jump into one of our DMs on social, either myself or HUD. Get me your address. We will get this shipped out to you so that you can use your $25 gift card to Baggio's Bread.
Yeah, we
Tomorrow,
see Wayne in here every once in a while.
Yeah, no, Wayne's usually in. Wayne's usually in some shows, so that's good. Go ahead. We get a usual member in here to win. Tomorrow night, the drawing will obviously be on HUD Wednesday nights. And maybe a little teaser tomorrow night. As we are on HUD Wednesday nights, maybe we might be giving away a half-hour spot on HUD Wednesday night.
Ooh.
I mean, just saying. Makes a lot of sense.
Ooh, I like
might
that.
Might be a good prize tomorrow. So if you're not a member, make sure you just go over to YouTube. The link is in the description. $9.99 a month. Gets you signed up. Gets you added to the wheel for tomorrow and for the rest of the prizes to go ahead and give it away. So, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always.
Greg, miss you, buddy.
Love seeing your faces. Merry Christmas to my 3 guys.
You too, brother.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Sounds good, Greg.
Merry Christmas to
Thanks,
you,
guys.
Greg.
Be safe out there, brother.
All right, then. So, Greg giving away prizes here because that's what. And unfortunately, the Blue Jackets did pull within one as Rob's little signal, little hand gesture showed off there a few moments ago, and it is now 4-3 Flyers. Luckily, the Flyers were up.
Oh, see, that's the downfall of putting your stick in the way, man. I didn't think who that was. Was that Ristolainen?
Yeah.
Again, just off like a ramp.
Second goal he gave up. He got beat on in this game. I don't know why he's being played on the top defensive pairing, but that's beyond me. Yeah.
It's been a tough night for Hart, in my opinion. He had 2 deflection goals that he couldn't really do nothing with. And he just got flat out beat by Kent Johnson. That shot was an absolute laser beam.
Yeah, it was.
But, that first goal.
Well,
It's saying you whole shit for a goal.
I don't quite know what that means, but okay.
And he asked if Hayes was playing. And then that was a crazy goal. And Mariah Land is saying, is Gaudreau playing? Yes, he is. And he made a wild dive at the puck. Looked like he almost injured himself doing it. He didn't, though. He got right back up from it. But it was a crazy dive.
Yeah, he's been quiet tonight. Couple shot attempts, I don't want to necessarily say scoring chances, but he had a couple shots on net that I've seen so far.
Yeah, so far it's been Yeah, it's the Blue Jackets have been kind of rebounding here after the Flyers took a 2-goal lead here. Now it's 1 goal. So, By the way, John also stated that Greg was using word porn to describe food porn. So there.
Indubitably.
Only way to do it. Why didn't York shoot there? Why did he just let the puck just go through? That's interesting.
Let's see here. What else we got? John saying Hayes' contract is crippling to this team. I figured they would learn to stop giving out 8-year-old deals and a cap strap. Unfortunately, old habits die hard. Hopefully, this is another lesson to be learned. Of hey, probably shouldn't put 8-year contracts out on players. What were you gonna say, Rob?
Johnny, stick around for the shootout. You may be surprised to hear coming out of my mouth. If you can stick with us.
I mean, I'm good with these 8-year deals because that's the market for some of these players, man. It's not necessarily the players, it's the agents getting the deals, but the K's wanted a long-term deal. Guys don't want to jump from team to team every 2 to 3 years. Guys just want to find a place to call home and play there. That's the majority of the reason. And then you get a guy like Sean Couturier. You get a guy of that caliber, you want to lock him up. You don't want to let him go. Like, I get it. Maybe not at Kevin Hayes' age you sign that deal, but, I mean, I get the 8-year deals. But this situation just isn't good for any player on this roster right now. It's just a bad situation for everybody involved.
Like I said, it was a whole. This is the what's the word for it? This is the explosion. If the fuse was lit in the 2010s after the Flyers had made the Stanley Cup Finals in 2010, to then start trying to hotshot your way into playoff run after playoff run after playoff run, and doing a couple of facelifts here and there, and then getting some young players and calling it a day. You keep doing that, and eventually it's going to have that breaking off point, that explosion of, okay, this team is now falling off the face of the earth. And that's kind of what happened. And then also half-baked ideas, half-assed investments. And it was a perfect combination of things that led to this, falling apart here in the 2020s. You started off the decade great. Now you've seen 2 really bad years in a row, now going to be 3, and it's like, okay, this is what happens when you don't strive to make it better. You're just trying to hotshot your way back into everything, basically. That's kind of what I've been seeing. That's what I've noticed, that's what ultimately we've got here.
No, Maddie, I don't disagree with that one bit, buddy. But I'm going to jump back real quick to the contract talk here. What's up, Kevin? I haven't seen you in a while in the chat, bro. I hope you're doing all right. The other thing too is what makes that contract crippling, and this is the big thing here, and this is what I would have taken out of the contract or not even put into it. This is full no movement clause. I would have been like, no, sorry. If you want a long-term deal, I'm not putting a no movement clause in there. I'll commit to you for a few years, and if your play stays consistent, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're not living up to what I'm paying you, I'm going to try to trade you. So that's my thing. That's if you put a no movement clause in, like, say, a Sean Couturier contract, that I get, because he's still at the time he was still a relatively young guy who you want to invest in and you build around. That's the guys you give that kind of contract to, not a guy like Kevin Hayes. And for me, that's what makes that contract crippling.
Well, yeah, and the other sad part of it is that you just got done with the Andrew McDonald deal, and that was not a good investment because that was a very painful albatross on your neck. You just got that one taken care of, and then you just put yourself right back into the same spot by doing it again. By going now, I'm sure at the time, Fletcher was listening to AV, and I'm sure AV had a lot of stock in Hayes, And so he really thought that if we're going to build this team back up, or we're going to make this team the way I want it to be, I need Kevin Hayes. I'm sure that was a big influence on the deal. But at the time, it's like, when you're taking on a team that just got done with one bad contract, do you really want to put them on another one? Because he still had the JVR one that was causing some issues. And yeah, JVR hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't exactly been worth the worry that he's been paid. And then, then you run into the issue of, well, you still have Claude Giroux's contract, and you still had Voracek's contract on top of that at the time. So do you really want to put yourself right back into that position? And he did. It's like that was the other issue too that popped up. It's like you just got rid of Andrew McDonald, and you put yourself back in another long-term deal that could bite you in the ass. And it just seemed like an unnecessary risk at the time. At least in my opinion, it was an unnecessary risk. It's like, why don't take a time to look at some of the youth and let's go build from there? And they just decided, no, let's go put Kevin Hayes in there and let's try to hotshot our way back into the playoffs. It's like, that is not exactly what I wanted to do. Thank you guys for not listening to me at all. But, old habits and all.
They die hard. Get it? Yeah.
Hey.
It's a Christmas movie.
Hey,
Been a die
it
hard
all
kinda
came
night.
full circle.
It always does.
But to John's point, like, yeah,
Right.
Sanheim, yeah, it's another 8-year deal. But see, that's for the future. And what that told me was that this team would be willing to move on from Ivan Provorov, who's been beaten like a rented mule lately, much like Risto. Maybe build this team more around the youth of Sanheim and Cam York now up with the team too, that could quarterback power play, possibly Tony D as well, at least for the short term. If not for part of their long-term plans. But I was fine with that. But you're bringing in a guy, Kevin Hayes, that he could be a good player, but I don't think Kevin Hayes could be the guy. He's not Ric Flair. Woo!
No, listen, I'm on board with both of you guys. Like I was just saying, Robbie, while you were away for a moment, you give those contracts to guys that you can build around. You build your nucleus around.
Right.
Kevin Hayes, yeah, you bring him in. He's a good leader. He's a good player, but he's not a player that you build around. You give him a 3 or 4 year contract.
He keeps the boys loose in the locker room. That's what he does.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, especially on the bench. His first year, he had guys. He had such a great year his first year because he stayed loose. He kept the guys loose. But this team being in such a transition of wherever it is that they want to go, it just makes it more difficult because now, obviously, you got guys you want to move. You want to bring in draft picks, and that's what you should be doing at this point of the year is figuring out where you are and figuring out who you can get rid of. And I know we'll talk about a little bit more later on in the show, JVR. What do you do with JVR? What do you do with Ivan Provorov at this point? What are you doing with Risto? Like, you got to figure out a way to get some draft picks and get some of these vets out of here so you can start bringing up some of the kids. Well, some more of the kids. And more in the right sense of, hey, you're staying here. You're not here until so-and-so gets healthy. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. And Ted, to your comment, bro, we're good. We're good. Just because we disagree, I mean we ain't friends. Be good, homie. Don't worry about it.
See that Christmas magic coming through, making sure that peace and happiness is found everywhere.
Yeah, just because we disagree from time to time don't mean we ain't friends. That makes us more friends, I feel like, right? I mean, I disagree with these two all the time. We're good.
That is the basis of what we're all doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
ATD, baby. Agree to disagree.
Right.
Hey, listen, man. Ted, for real. You show up every week.
Logmed saying who
This lag is killing me, bro.
Go ahead, Brian.
No, all right,
I
real quick.
know.
Real quick.
I've been trying to get it under control. It's
Batty, no worries, Brody. Just real quick. I mean, homie, you show up every week. You're one of our more consistent viewers. We're good, homie. I got no beef. We're good, bro. Go ahead, Maddie. Oh, my head.
And let's see. Kick Logned saying, who will win the match? Well, right now it is 40 left to go. Right now, Flyers are getting some pretty decent opportunities. I'm going to say Flyers. I know it's a really stupid thing to say, and I'm going to regret saying it.
Yeah, but you got to like that they're not sitting back. They weren't sitting back at 4-2, and they're certainly not sitting back at 4-3. Shots 10-10 in the third period.
No, absolutely. With where I am in the game right now, I'm about
We've been seeing that from them.
45 seconds behind you guys. Yeah, they're not sitting back. You know, JVR just had a great scoring chance there. You know, they're still battling to try and get that insurance marker get back up too. So, you know, the fact that they're still fighting and not sitting back, they got the foot on the gas. I like it. I think they could definitely win this game.
Yeah, so about 2 minutes left on the clock, and Carlton's that play. So we're at 1:59 in the third period. Still 4-3 Flyers. Flyers are 38-31. They're leading the shots. So far it's and just emptied the net. So an empty net will be looming for the Flyers. So hopefully the Flyers can put a nail in the coffin here and finish this guy off. Yeah, that was a nasty hit. But, yeah, so Flyers the chance. Hopefully they can get an empty net here and close.
Shit. They got Risto and Provorov. Columbus is going to tie it. I'm sorry.
It's
Greg's
been a bad year
Philadelphia wore
those
off
guys. Bring him on to give something away, and that's what happens.
Oh.
But it's okay, though, because the Flyers did just get that empty netter. Owen Tippett getting his second goal of the night, and it's 5-3 Flyers here at 119.
See, I reversed the curse that you put, Maddie, by doing that, because, of course, the opposite's going to happen true. Nice.
I love that he had a 2-goal game, Tippett.
Nice. All right, then. Yeah, you do want to see that from him. Putting the nail in the coffin. Good flip, too, right out of the zone. And it wound up landing in the perfect place.
Yep, and he showed some good speed to go win that puck race.
You know, Tippett looked good tonight. Frost looked good just when we started getting, abandoning him. He heard the calling and has been playing better. Wade Allison returning from IR tonight. He looked good in limited minutes as well. So it's good to have two gingers back on the ice again.
2 twin gingers at that.
It's the.
And what did they do, Maddie?
It's the.
And what did they do, Maddie?
Friction. They steal souls. So let's see here. 34 seconds are still up 5-3. He's saying JVR is a bum.
He's been pretty
Going
good
on to
since he
say-
came back, though.
So who's on? Yeah, the Ted saying Tippett, and who's the other?
Wade Allison.
Is there?
Separated at birth.
They actually could be freaking right. They could be freaking twins.
That's what I'm saying. I like John's question, and we'll address this a little bit more, Johnny, when we
So here,
get into the next period here about the trade block. So stick around, brother.
John saying he has a mighty. He also says he has a mighty ginger playoff beard. It's a
Yeah, he does.
shame that it won't. Ducks, though, may be a different story. Nah.
Flyers win. They take care. Flyers took care of business at last game of the calendar year at home, being the team that's been playing just as bad as them, so at least staying out of the basement. Is it futile towards, draft seeding? That remains to be seen, but it's at least a good win and it's a good taste in the mouth of a team that's about to go on 5, road games in a row, 3 to close out the year, and then 2 more in the new calendar year of 2023, including a West Coast trip wrapping up against your Ducks, Brian. So, I think this is a game you had to have tonight, just to keep up the compete and the hunger.
No, absolutely, and especially with the division that they're in, you have to try and keep up. I know a lot of people don't see this team as a playoff team. I don't see them as a playoff team yet, but just for the sake of being able to compete and just maintain ground in this division and build a conference of guys like Carter Hart and Felix Sandstrom, some of the younger guys, it's good to go out and get wins against teams that you should be beating. Columbus is a team that you should beat. And it was a closer game than I kind of expected, especially after the second period. It's a situation where, you got to build confidence for the young guys. And how do you build confidence for the young guys? You beat the teams that you need to beat. And you never know. This could lead to something bigger moving forward. So, again, me being the hopeful optimistic here on the show, that's just how I am.
That's true. You kind of are, man.
So
the sad state of affairs, what the Flyers have done to me.
Anthony's saying, I don't get it. The Flyers can't beat the Coyotes, but they beat the Blue Jackets. Listen, man, that's just the Flyers. That's just how this shit works. We'll still lose to the Coyotes, but they would beat the Blue Jackets in the same exact situation. It doesn't matter.
The Coyotes might be playing better than the Blue Jackets this year.
They are. And then you run into a hot scorer in Clayton Keller, who puts up a hat trick against the Flyers. Some of that stuff is tough to overcome. And, you take the team to overtime, which is good. So you get the point from the Arizona game. So either way you look at it, between the 2 games, you got 3 points. So, Arizona's not as bad as the record says. They really have a solid team over there. They just can't put it together.
I want to give Arizona at least a little bit of props. Their logo is on center ice. So you know what? Good for you, Arizona. You're on the ice. You're not that embarrassing. So congratulations.
Yeah, the arena caved,
then,
man. They were like,
we
can't do you rotten like that.
Well, originally, didn't they say that they weren't going to put the logo on the ice at all? They weren't allowed to have a logo anywhere, right?
Right.
So good for them for giving them a little
Pretty
something.
much.
So they at least put them on like the other side of the college team that plays there. So they had a little representation.
Yeah, I think the NHL battled for that one.
Yeah, probably.
So the Flyers get the win at least for their last home game of, I guess, when is it the last home game of 2022? Might be the last home game of 2022.
It is.
Let me double check.
It is, Matty.
It is. Okay. Good.
Come on, man. He's like 45 seconds behind us, like I am in the
So the
game.
last home game of 2022.
Matty's so far behind, there's another home game left, actually. I'm just playing.
Oh, we love you, Matty.
See, I joke down. It'll be me next week. That's behind. See, that's how it works.
I can make the jokes. I'm always behind.
We'll see. Bro. All right, so let's see here. back to that's the end of our first period. So let's give our sponsor for that first period. It's 6700 Mill Creek Ave in Levittown, PA. If you're ever in the Levittown, PA area, you want to check out Gleason's Bar. Got some great food there, and if you use the promo code A2D for 10%, you 10% off your order whenever you go dine-in, takeout. You go online at Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com. So get yourself some great food, and go to Gleason's Bar. That's where you want to go if you're in the Levittown, PA area, or you're close by, and you can make a little quick pit stop there, grab some food. All right, then. So on to the second period of play here for us. That is tonight. If you're looking to get some apparel for your favorite sports team, and go to All Campus. There's All Campus. All Campus OC. John Coyle running the shop down there. Down there, great place to go to. They run the ramp booth out of there, and they gave them 20% off of everything in store, including the hats and the shirts to all of the subscribers to HUD. So if you get subscribed up, you get 20% off. And yeah, it's definitely worth doing that because, hey man, at this time with everything going up in price, 20% is a good deal to get. Plus, on top of that as well, you get your favorite sports teams. You get your favorite apparel, whether you want a jersey, go grab it from All Campus OC. And say hi to John while you're at it. Okay.
John's a good guy. Yeah, definitely.
Second period time. Yes, absolutely. Time, trade block, trade rumors. That's what's going to be jumping up now because we're getting closer to the All-Star break, which will be February 8th. That'll be when it happens, the All-Star game itself. So as we're getting closer and closer and closer to that, we start getting closer and closer and closer to the trade deadline. And there have been some rumors going around. There's been some talk, particularly around JVR, but there's also been some moves that have been made. Wondering, is that going to have an effect as we get further along in this season? So, gentlemen, let's talk about it. JVR talked about from the Flyers saying that they're open to trading him, which, again, the Flyers have been open to trading almost everybody. What do you think for him? Where do you think are the options to sending JVR? He's got a high salary. You could conceivably offload that because it's only 1 year. And if you're a team that's looking at a situation of, well, we want depth for the playoffs, we want to make an option there, which he's not. He can get you some decent goals. He can be a clutch player when he needs to be. He can be the guy that you need to be in front of the net for screening the goaltender. Guys, maybe third line, second line if you really need to fill that hole. Maybe we start covers, then you can up and down to the third line if need be. Gentlemen, what do you think? Options wise, where you JVR possibly being offloaded to?
I'm looking at the cap here to see what some of these options could be for him. I mean, there's a few options out there. I mean, believe it or not, the Toronto Maple Leafs could be another option. He could potentially go back there. They have 6 players on LTIR, which frees up $7 million cap space for them. You could see maybe maybe not the Columbus Blue Jackets because they're at the bottom of the barrel there. Potentially, maybe the Colorado Avalanche could be in on them at $6 million with 4 guys on the LTIR. But obviously, if you're giving away his contract right now, you're going to have to take a bad contract back for a guy on a 1-year deal. Hopefully, not as much as $7.5 million. But a lot of these are looking like it's going to be probably a middle of the road team, and you're going to have to take somebody back. Because a lot of what I'm seeing is like $5 million. Minnesota could be an option. The New York Islanders could be an option. The Red Wings could be an option. I don't really see him going to bottom of the barrel team. Well, yeah, no, I don't see that happening because the Flyers are going to probably want draft picks back. So, in order for that to happen, I don't think he can make a move to somebody to a team like that that's at the bottom of the barrel because they're going to be looking for the same thing. So the playoff teams, the middle of the road teams, I think are going to be your best chances for a JVR trade.
All right then, Robbie, how are you feeling on that?
You know, Brian, you started off with the team that I was first thinking of. How about a Toronto reunion? I mean, I would gladly take Pontus Holmberg or a pick. You know, get a young player back that's already a little NHL. You know, I think he's played 17 games this season for them. Been a slightly, productive player and limited ice time, but get a young guy that could directly replace him on the wing. And then, like you said, Toronto has the cap space. He has a familiarity with that team. He could really help them on the power play, really just being, that front of the net presence. But speaking of which, I think a team that could really use that even more is the Los Angeles Kings. And he could be an asset to that team. The Flyers could target maybe their fourth highest prospect, a little guy down in the ranks a little bit, but could be a diamond in the rough. 6 foot, 195-pound forward in Akil Thomas, whose development has been slowed a little bit with shoulder injuries since being selected 51st overall in 2018, but he's still 22 years old and is touted to be NHL ready by 2023, as soon as 2023. So I think those would be the two top of my list, boys. I mean, I'm not sure what the Kings cap situation is, if that's doable, but it definitely fits a need that they desire.
Kings right now are at 2.09 mil of cap space. They could do a trade with the Kings, but they'd have to take something back.
Right. They'd have to take something back.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the other thing, too. There is another option to go along with a little bit of our salary, and you send him off for a year to the Kings, or you send a bit of the salary. You could do that if you want to, because it's only one season, so it's not like you're killing yourself. So you get what you want out of the deal, and then the other team gets what they want out of the deal. Maybe you could do that, and it'll be a win-win. Because, again, with it only being one season, it's not the end of the world if you have to eat it. By the way, Wayne, nice win tonight. It was for the Flyers, but were you talking about you winning the draw? I wasn't sure. But congratulations either way, man. Good job on getting that win tonight for yourself. And, reach out to Gregor82D, like Bryce said in the chat there, because that will get yourself a nice little prize from Baggio's. All right, then.
I mean, for me, it's pretty clear for me. You got to give JVR up. If you want to get a draft pick for JVR, you might, like I said, depending on where he goes, you're going to have to take a bad contract back on a 1-year rental. But to me, it's getting that draft pick that's more important. I'll take the bad contract for a rental player to get potentially. I think potentially with the way he's playing, you could maybe squeeze a second round pick if you take a bad contract. But realistically, I think you can take a third this year to get get JVR on a winning team here that has a chance to compete for a cup instead of sending him to a team that's in the same boat, looking to get draft picks for what could be a pretty sweet draft for a lot of these bottom feeding teams.
I mean, you could do a conditional pick where you get a conditional third-round pick, but if the team gets into the third round or farther into the Stanley Cup Finals, maybe you get a second-round pick out of that, where originally it was a third-round pick, but because that was the year the Blackhawks won their third cup, and Kimmo Timonen had played in enough games, it allowed for it to become a second-round pick. So you could go that wise. And in terms of taking back a contract, it's not the end of the world. The Flyers have to do it. You know, it's from where we're at this point. If this doesn't tell you rebuild and retool and anything involving the word just restart, I don't. You know, it's like the third season in a row that you've been abysmal to watch, and you've been playing abysmally. So it's like, you know what? That's also kind of funny. But at the same time, I would say, you know, it's the third season. You take a bad contract, you just do what you got to do. And since it's a 1 year deal, since it's a 1 year rental with JVR, maybe you take only like a 2 year bad contract, take a 3 year bad contract. That doesn't kill you at the end. The goal is to build up anyway. It's not even to keep that person around for much longer. And who knows? Maybe after it gets down, who knows? Who knows? The opportunities are there. It's not the end of the world because Flyers are not going to be in the playoffs. So it frees you up to kind of get rid of JVR. And Mad Bull saying, love that comment. I just wanted to stop because someone was being positive in the chat.
It's about time.
And vibes a little bit.
It's about time. Listen, Mabel, I can't be the only optimistic one on the show anymore, bro. Come on. I need you here.
POP, baby.
I mean, for me, Maddie, like I said, if you're taking a bad contract, you got to take a bad contract that's on a 1 year. Because again, if you take that 2 to 3 year bad contract, you're log jamming players again. You can't do that. Not in the situation they're in.
What if you combo?
Well,
what do you mean combo?
Could.
Like, you know, you're looking, you know, JVR might not be the only bet that you're looking to shed from this team. And a guy that I was half saying tongue in cheek and joking that TK trading up that trade value. What if you package both of them in a deal and get mega picks?
You're definitely going to have to get – I mean, you can definitely get some picks in return. But, I mean, that's an interesting situation because you could probably easily get a couple picks in return plus a player. But, again, you'd have to take you probably have to take a couple bad contracts on that one. Again, just to stay cap relevant for both teams involved.
Well, what's Konechny on? I mean, I know he did a 6 year 33.
I'll tell you in a second.
When was that signed?
I'll tell you in a second. Well, what's actually kind of crazy about this, and I'm looking at the Flyers, they have $3 million in cap space right now because of the players on the LTIR. Konechny is on a, come on, faster. There we go. He's making 5.5 over the next 3 years. On top of Kevin Hayes, on top of JVR's 7. So you'd be losing 12.5, 13.5 there. No, I was right. 12.5. Yeah. Math is not my strong suit, boys. This is why I do this.
Well, Ted has the question of, I got a question. Who's making those trades, Fletcher or Danny? That would be Fletcher who would be making those deals. I'm sure Danny would probably be the one pulling the trigger on them.
Yeah, as of right now, it's Chuck. I think Danny's just like a special consultant to the GM or special assistant or something like that. I think that's his title. Does Boston have any cap
Special
space?
assistant. That's a fancy made-up title.
Pretty much. Where's Boston on this? Boston, Bruin. There they are. You probably could send them to Boston, realistically.
Yeah, so going with that because Ted's other comment was.
But you'd probably be getting a third-round pick because you don't have a second rounder.
I mean,
you have to
Boston.
be taking a third round. Hold on. Oh yeah, go ahead, Maddie. I'm looking. Sorry.
I was gonna say, with Boston, it kind of Ted's at because Boston is always looking for secondary scoring because they have the issue of, not to say that they haven't gotten a decent amount of it this year. That's why they've been actually pretty solid this year of being in the standings. But again, because you don't want to go back to being that one-line team where the perfection line was the only thing that the team had. So yeah, I see where your head's at, Ted. I like where you're thinking about, like, okay, let's send him to Boston because Boston's going to probably make the playoffs and they're going to probably want some scoring depth this time around because they didn't have it last year.
Here's an interesting name for you boys. If you did that with JVR, right? You send him to Boston. You get a third-round pick back. What about bringing on the contract of Nick Foligno in return? He's on a final year of his deal.
Interesting.
Right? He's on the final year of his deal. He's making 3.8. And he's pretty much been a captain every team that he's been on. So you're bringing in another guy who's a leader, and he's 35 years old, so you don't necessarily need to worry about signing him to a long-term deal. If you decide to re-sign him, you put him on another one-year deal. And then you're obviously not going to give him 3.8 mil again, so he's probably going to be making less. I think that could be an ideal trade for JVR.
I like that a lot because wasn't this a guy the Flyers were targeting when he was a free agent?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually.
Now, my only question with it is, is if that move makes Boston cap reliant, making sure they stay within the parameters of that, or do the maybe Flyers take on them another contract that has to even things out. But I mean, for me, I think that's a good deal for JVR. So you get a third round pick for it this year. That's another one. I think that gives them 3. I thought I saw for the Flyers, 2 or 3 third-round picks for this year, which, with the depth of this draft class, is not a bad thing. And then you get a good leader. You get a good leader in Nick Foligno. You can never have enough leadership. I'd be their 4th. No, sorry, it is their 3rd. It'd be their third-round pick. They have Florida's this year too, and they have the Rangers this year as well.
Interesting. I mean, draft capital is not a bad thing to stock up on, so I think
No, not for a rebuilding team in a draft like this.
Be against that deal. Yeah, I would go with that. I think that's a solid enough. 1 year on Foligno. It's not like he's going to be sticking around after that, and you get more draft capital for the draft this year. And yeah, you know what? I think I'm fine with that, honestly.
I thought that would be a good trade for JVR. He goes to a team that's competing for a Stanley Cup. You bring back a guy who could be a good fit for a rebuilding team, a leader in the locker room, a guy you could, if you sign him to, let's say they re-sign him to a 2-year deal, you throw the C on him for a couple of years, you let the other guys battle it out, and you see what you get back as far as injuries and who shows up and plays. Like I said, the cap compliance, the cap compliance is the only
so
issue
I think.
there.
I mean, there are ways to work around that. Say maybe somebody's got to eat a little bit of one salary here, the other one's got to eat a little bit of this salary there, and you can make that money to get away with it. Or maybe you do a three-way deal if you can pull that off. I don't know if you can get another team in there and say, hey, we need to get up some cap space, so we'll give you this guy and this guy in exchange. We got to give each other this guy. You could try to go that route, but that to do because what team's going to be interested in doing that right now? I know one did just recently happen, not that long ago, involving the Red Wings, but yeah, I mean, but you know what? If they can make that deal happen, that's not the worst one in the world. That's actually a pretty solid deal.
I'm not gonna put the name out on this one, but somebody on Facebook just said that Carter Hart is the most overrated athlete in Philly sports. Probably the worst take this guy's ever made, and he's been filled with nothing but bad takes.
Tonight. Means a lot. I love the Carter Hart hate. It's just like, God, people just need somebody to bitch about. It's like, because now that, Ben Simmons is gone from the sick, anybody apart in there, so the Flyers are having a bad year. So you got to find somebody to pick up.
I was just listening to Tort's presser after the game, and he's talking about like the little victories and seeing team, like both individual player development as well as the team concept development. And he goes, sending Cam York down in the minors worked. Remember when you were all pissing and moaning about that move? Well, it worked. I love this guy.
Yeah.
I used to piss on this guy. Now I love him.
I mean, it's really hard. Like I was saying to Greg, like I think he really is the right guy for right now in the situation that they're in, because he's gonna put that. He's gonna be able to teach these guys the right way and the wrong way. He can tell a little bit more when a guy's not quite ready. He needs just a little bit more time. Cam York has been great since he's come up. I thought Kevin Hayes played a much better game tonight than he did the other night. And that benching, I think, regardless of what he's saying, I definitely think it helped clear his head a little bit. And I think he's the right coach for right now. And I think he's going to be here longer than people expect him to be. Because I think after this year, once pieces start going into place, I think everything's going to be all right.
To me, Hayes was a ghost tonight. I disagree with you there, Brian.
I mean, how many turnovers did you see him put out there?
That's true. I mean, he wasn't fumbling the puck. You weren't noticing him for the negatives, too. So
right.
Maybe message received there. And, every bet is going to get a message. But you also got to consider he's being played on the third line tonight. So, his re-entry back in the lineup. So he's getting less ice time to make an impactful difference. But a few opportunities I've seen him flub. And he's got to get his head screwed on straight.
No, I totally agree with that. But to me, I thought he played much better. Yeah, granted, he was a ghost, but I thought he played a much cleaner game than what he has been. I thought he had a couple good scoring chances in this game, but other than that, yeah, he was a ghost. Ooh, Ottawa's getting smoked 5-1.
Tommy's saying. He also was giving me a shout out. Thank you, Tommy. Laughing at, I would assume, hopefully, which I think we do that without even trying. Got Brian Wilson saying, what's up, my boys? I'd say we got a shot at the playoffs in 3 years. Well, that actually is. That's wishful thinking, quite frankly. They're like, oh, well, that means everything went well. Literally, everything fell into place properly if it's 3 years. And he's saying, well, that's a Brian question. I'll let you feel that.
You don't want to know the answer to that question. I just looked at him like, wow. They're 20 million. They're 20 million under the cap right now. They have a ton of money to play with.
So we'll send you JVR. Ted saying, does
You have
his
Frank
name
Petrano
rhyme with Mo?
or John Klingberg. Actually, John
All
Klingberg
right.
would be a bad move for you guys, honestly. Be in the same boat, another $7 million contract for 1 year. Go ahead, take him.
Oh, well then, yeah. We'll just trade one bad contract for another bad contract. That's just exciting.
So, boys, they asked him, what's an update on Kevin Hayes? How did you like his play tonight? Yada, yada. And he goes, what's the update? There is no update. See, you all are trying to pin him against me and me against him, which is ludicrous. There will be no Kevin Hayes update. Next question. I love
But and that's the thing, though, Robbie. There shouldn't be an update. There is no update. It happened.
Right.
It's you move
It's
on.
in-house. It's in-house. It's going to remain
Mhm.
in-house. Keith Jones said it earlier beautifully together. What's said between them is going to stay between them or what have you. But the fact that Torts goes, that's ludicrous, probably shows that there isn't as ruffled feathers as the media is making it out to be.
No, and I totally agree with that. And even Hartnell said the same thing. He said when he benched me, he benched Hartnell a couple times.
Yeah.
And Hartnell's like, message received. You know, it's all about how you want to take it. If Kevin Hayes wants to take it in a negative manner, that's on him. That's not on anybody else. And yeah, I mean, to Eric's question here, when can they trade him? When he gives him, when he waives his no trade clause. That's the only way they can trade him.
Right.
But he's
Or
got
they
to take
buy
his
him out.
benching in a positive light.
And if you do, you can't trade him.
Delaware Thunder team? There's a team in Delaware called the Thunder? Is that somebody's EHL team? That's what I would assume.
So, let's see. There's since under the Reading Royals, which is the Flyers ECHL affiliate. So just skip down a whole tier. It's like, oh, we're gonna send you down. Like, oh, so I'm gonna go play for the Flyers. Oh yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I thought maybe that team name was the team of Ben Stiller's team in dodgeball, but no, that was the Purple Cobras. Never mind. Didn't realize I was speaking out loud there.
Let's see here. Ted saying Kings Ducks tonight. Any hope Ducks win? And can Chicago go on a winning streak?
No, I don't want the Ducks to win tonight. I want them to stay as low in the standings as they possibly can. I want some specific players to play well, but I want them to keep losing. I want a top 2 pick. I want Bedard or I want Finelli. Both of those guys are going to be dreams in Anaheim. I'd rather have Bedard, but Finelli is a very close number 2 right now. So the further down they stay, the happier I am.
I would agree that they want to lose too, and they want to never go on a win streak this year. Let's see. I'm saying the Kevin Hayes update, he's not injured. Do they want him to say, office, here's a recording of our conversation, I'll play it now? That's a good point, actually.
Right. I mean, I have a lot of respect. I think Torts gives the guys asking the questions a little bit harder of a time because there's really some. Charlie Coyle's a good dude. Fucking Jordan Hall's a good dude. But some of the questions are absolutely ludicrous. Like, what are you thinking when you ask a dumbass question like that? So they deserve to get lit up.
I mean, especially to him.
Like a Christmas tree.
Like, especially to him. Like, do you not know his... He doesn't have a great relationship with the media as it is, and you're going to sit there and he has dumbass... I'm pretty sure he told somebody that was a stupid question. I'm not answering it once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that's probably happened multiple times, but like, you know what you're getting yourself into, and so ask a better question. He's even said that. Ask me better questions.
They're teeing them up, man. They want the sound bites.
I'm sure they do. If I'm Torts, I'm not giving it to him. Just, next question.
Yeah.
Next question.
You know what they should do? He should just give him a smirk. He should just give him a smirk and a hand wave, a la Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes.
Let's see here. League. In the league, it's like Slapshot movie down there. Ha! So he'll be like the what's his nuts who was the skilled player on the team. At the end in the last game, he was like stripping on the ice. And because of the indecency, they won the championship. That was funny. Let's see here. State men's hockey team. Send their asses back to college. Okay. That'd be interesting. So what are you going to get a doctorate in? Or what are you going to get my master's in how to play fundamental hockey? That's what I came here to get my master's in. Meanwhile, Aaron Torts have a say in trade deadline, or will it be Fletcher? I'm sure Danny probably will just advise, and I'm sure Fletcher he could do whatever he wants with that advice. I'm sure he would, if he's smart, he would listen to your coach. You should listen to your coach. Danny, one thing, Torts is the other. You should listen to your coach because he's the guy who's got to actually make this shit work. So, hopefully, Torts would have a say in that.
I feel like he would kind of have some kind of an idea, some kind of a say, but I don't necessarily know if I would give Torts any say, but I would definitely sit down with him and be like, what kind of players are you looking for?
That's what I mean. Like, he should at least be able to this is what I think of the deal, and Fletcher can do whatever he wants with that. But for Torts, it's a little bit of a different story because he's the one who's behind the bench. He's got to play. He's got to, coach the guy.
But if I'm sitting in that GM seat and I'm Chuck Fletcher, I want picks this year. That's what I want. You can have these guys,
right?
But I want picks in return. Because I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's a chance that if you draft the right players in this draft this year with how deep it is, you can shave a couple years off the rebuild, especially if you have a lot of picks. And the Flyers need to find a second-round pick. They need to get one. So they're going to have to give up somebody to get a second-round pick in this draft. Because I think if you go into the third round with 3, you could set yourself up to get a couple AHL prospects almost right away. And then first round pick, depending on where the Flyers are picking, you could get a guy who's ready for the NHL right away. Second round, you might be able to get another guy who's ready right away. So you never know. This draft is going to be so good. It's going to be so deep, and these bottom-dwelling teams are going to compete next year. I think they will. I think we're going to have a much better season for a lot of these teams next year, especially the team that lands Connor Bedard.
Well, you would think.
We've seen
Ted saying
weirder things happen. Look at Shane Wright.
That's true.
Look at Shane Wright.
Well, that whole thing was a disaster in a way. That whole thing blew up pretty quickly once it.
Did, and you know what? He fell from 1st to 4th, and then he spent some time in the AHL, and he didn't get his first goal until like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So, you never really know what you're getting. Shane Wright was the bona fide first-round pick. This kid's way different, and his attitude is way better than Shane Wright's is. But You do never know, but you will. I mean, I think that Bedard's going to be an immediate impact type of player. He's going to be a franchise changer.
Who do you guys think we trade away besides JVR? Well, this is the perfect time to talk about that. When it comes to looking, who else do you think the Flyers would be throwing out on the trade block? I mean, I know Rob talked about Travis Konechny. You could look at maybe trading away Provorov if you can. As for, you can't do anything with Hayes and as for, you can't trade Ristolainen. He's got too much salary and he has had no value whatsoever. If there's a buyout coming, it'll probably be him. I would say, well, Ted's saying D'Angelo. I don't know. What is D'Angelo's contract? I forget, actually.
2-year deal.
D'Angelo's contract? It's conceivable. You could do that.
Just bringing him in, though. Just bringing him in, though, I would suspect if you're going to trade a defenseman, you'd probably trade Justin Braun. Maybe some lesser pieces on bottom six guys like a Zach McEwen that could help a team's playoff run, having an energy guy, quality third line, fourth line guy that could contribute on the score sheet. Patrick Brown is really good at the face-off circle, brings a physical presence. I think you'd see lesser pieces, again, trying to keep the team young and moving.
No, absolutely. And I've seen McEwen's name in some rumors. I heard his name linked to Edmonton. So they could be looking to get a little bit tougher in Edmonton there. I agree. Patrick Brown could be another guy who's moved. Maybe possibly I could maybe see him going to the Rangers for a pick. I totally agree on Justin Braun. I think that's part of the reason why he brought him back was to be able to trade him again. I don't think you're getting a third-round pick for him this year. I don't think he's played well enough. I think he could probably see maybe a splash. And I think if you do see that splash, maybe it's Provorov.
Yeah, I alluded to that earlier. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been playing well of late, but I mean, that's a guy we've been speculating for the last couple of years, and maybe he could potentially be on the move. Yeah, I totally agree on McEwen. There's one other guy I was thinking. I mean, I hate to say it. Maybe, and I know Eric was saying it somewhere. I forget where it was. Maybe you consider moving on from Morgan Frost. I know he's playing really well right now, but maybe you move on from him because you might be able to get a nice pull for him because he's still young. So maybe you get that second-round pick from Morgan Frost. You don't get that full return back, but you get a good second-round pick from a good team. There's your second-round pick there. And if you can get that third-round pick there, that's 5 picks in your first 3 rounds. And I think that's a successful trade deadline. That's my opinion, though.
To be honest with you, I'm kind of not against it because it's like, you know what? I'm still on the idea of, fuck it. Let's just start rebuilding. There's no point of it. Let's just go to the draft with as many picks as we could possibly get. If that means we got to trade a couple of players, all right, it is what it is. You know what? Draft capital. That's all I give a shit about at this point. I could care less about whether we make the playoffs or not.
I mean, D'Angelo could be an option too, but you just gave up 3 picks to get him. Unless you're going to get that return back, you just keep him. I'm okay with keeping him because he's still, 25, 26? He can still be a viable piece of his defense. So I definitely consider holding on to him. No.
He's just signed to a deal, so I don't think he's going anywhere.
That's a slap in the face if they do that.
Let's see. yeah, that is. Did you guys see Leo Carlson is the third pick now because Matvey Michkov lives in Russia. He's signed to a league until 2026. You would have to wait to get him. Oof. Yeah, that would tank your draft value very quickly.
Yeah, there's a lot going on over there right now. So, I mean, Mitch Cobb was initially, like Ted was saying, he was projected to be the third pick. You know, the dude's a damn scorer too. But yeah, everything going on in Russia right now is just going to hold him up. He should be able to come over as an undrafted free agent though. Should he still want to play in the NHL in 2026? Yeah.
That depends, yeah. Ted saying, it would hurt and suck, but would you trade Provy to Boston for true ones? That, won't be top pick. Well, I don't know if the Bruins would give up a first-round pick. Maybe at best you can get a second. I don't know if they would go for a first-rounder for Provy.
No, I wouldn't trade him to Boston anyway. They're loaded on defense. They just traded for Hampus Lindholm last year and signed him to an 8-year contract. Anaheim, I don't even think got a first from Boston for him. So you're definitely not going to get a first. You're definitely not going to get two for Provy. Hampus Lindholm is way better than Provorov. And he's having a monster year.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm going to take that silence for a yes. Eric saying, you guys brought up draft. Oh, yeah, Rob?
I was silent there because I was in amazement that Mick Foley's baby girl has an OnlyFans account. What is this world coming to?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, man.
I was looking into it a little bit.
The wonderful world that we live in.
I was looking into it a little bit, to see if this was legit. Because sometimes, there's so much fake shit out there or whatever. It is legit, but it's also, if you keep up with her, she has a bad disease with her hearing that is very expensive to treat. Has to go out of the U.S. to treat it a lot, and basically she's doing this to pay for it to be self-sufficient. And she goes, if I have an opportunity to, pay my medical bills by doing an OnlyFans account, you better believe I'm going to take it. But hopefully it's just bikini pics and shit like that. That's all one can hope for.
And listen, I'm surprised she's Mick Foley's, first of all. So, secondly, she can get some money for them bikini pics. I promise you that. She'll get subscribers.
Oh yeah, just ask Mandy Rose.
Isn't that why she got fired from the WWE for those?
Not OnlyFans, it was a different type of site, but same thing.
Yeah.
And she's getting all kinds of nude, just so you know.
Okay, where's Google?
Well, there's something I wanted to look for.
We lost Brian for the rest of the show, Maddie. You're not going to have to worry about the lag anymore. The floor is yours.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'm so Googling it, though.
Brian, just kill your camera and your mic. You guys brought up draft. I didn't hear everything, but I feel I get as many picks for this draft to go for players can be AHL now or pro hockey now. No more waiting 5 years to see the kids to the pros. Well, if the Flyers, if they're smart enough about this, which that's where the problem comes in, a lot of people are worried that the Flyers aren't smart enough to handle this because the last time we picked Nolan Patrick, and we all saw how that went. But in the end, you could go into this draft with a decent stock of draft picks if you play your cards right. If you can offload JVR to with a decent opportunity to get some picks back for him, maybe you eat a little bit of the salary and just deal with it, but you got some picks for it in return. Okay, fine. JVR only has 1 year left on his contract, so it doesn't kill you. And then on top, you could take a look at what you can get for Provorov, and then maybe you throw out feelers to more Frost. Maybe you look into Justin Braun. Maybe you buy out Rasmus Ristolainen and send his ass packing as soon as you can get his shit packed up. Maybe you make some moves that you got to do this year and then just say, okay, it's time to start this shit right the fuck over and start looking around and seeing what picks you can get for some of those trades you made at the end of the day. And then have cap space come the end of the offseason just to make sure that when the time comes, you can make some moves if you need to there. So if they play their put themselves in a decent position, start the official beginning of a rebuild. We'll see if they do that, because we've all been there before where the Flyers have half-assed this and said, yeah, we can cut that down to 2. How? Oh, please, God, no. You're not throwing it. For fuck's sake, you threw 8 years at him. Are you fucking high? But anyway, that's pretty much how that usually goes in Flyer land.
But I can see them doing that, Maddie. I mean, also to Eric's point, too, I think that, the Flyers have collected a fair amount of draft picks that they could do well with in a very stacked draft that we'll have in 2023. But maybe you get some players that are low down in teams' pecking order of prospects, as they've been picking up guys as well off waivers with little room that they've had. But in some of the trading away some of these veterans, if you could bring in a guy like I brought up before from Toronto, Aponis Holmberg, or an Akil Thomas from LA Kings, that way you have some guys that are already AHL level on the precipice of coming to becoming NHL level, coupled with your draft picks. That's sort of the blueprint that we've seen the Devils do in this division, the Rangers do in this division. We saw Colorado do it all the way to a cup.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are pretty much on point here. Eric, no problem. We love responding to you guys. We love you guys for bringing in the the questions and stuff. If you haven't hit that like, brother, hit that subscribe. Come join us every week. Building off of what these two are saying here, with this draft class this year, this draft class is incredibly deep. And yeah, you want to get as many picks as you can. For me, I want 5 picks in the first round. That's what I want. A first, a second. I'll take the 3/3 if you can get them. I don't think there's anybody on this roster that's going to get you a first, unfortunately. Your first round pick, I think this year, depending on where they draft, is going to be your NHL ready guy out of the draft. Potentially, you could get 2 in the first 2 rounds. Your third round, possibly your second, is wound up going to be your guys who are going to wind up in the AHL. Those are going to be, I think, going to be your AHL ready guys now. But if you also look a little bit forward to, and we're talking about the blueprint that Rob was talking about. So you look at it this way. Couturier is back next year. Hopefully Brink is back next year. Hopefully Ellis may be back next year. Maybe we'll see. His career might be over. Cam hopefully is back next year. Now you start adding other pieces in. You add in Bobby Brink. You add in Carter Gauthier. Because let's be real. With the way he's playing, he's probably NHL ready right now. So you let him develop in the World Junior Tournament. Let him play against some of the best in the world at his age. There's another name that I'm blanking on. Tyson Forster's another guy you can bring in. So you got 4 guys right there, in my opinion, that you could probably bring up next year that could be effective with some of the guys that are already on this team. A Noah Cates, Morgan Frost if you don't move him. There's people want to say this team has no talent. I think this team has plenty of talent. I think this team just has no direction. And I think that's where Torts comes into play. Which is why you're seeing better effort game in and game out from these guys. They're starting to get that direction. Now you just got to get that direction up top. That's my thing. You got to get your team president, I'm with Swoopy on this because he says it all the time, and I agree. Y'all got to get on the same page here. Y'all got to figure out what you're doing. I think there's plenty of talent on this roster to be able to get this team competing within 2 years. And then if you can also bring in a couple talented guys, and I think you're going to get that in this year's draft for sure. There's no reason this team not to be competitive in 2 years. There's no reason. You got your franchise goalie. Maybe you bring in another veteran defenseman here and there. You definitely get rid of some of these bad contracts. You get JVR off the books. You got to get somebody else off the books. Elite talent, no. But there's definitely talent on this roster. You just got to be able to make some room for it and just let some of these guys develop. Like I said, the 3 names that I mentioned, Brink, Gauthier, and I think Tyson Forster are all ready to go. You just got to find a spot for them. Bring them up.
Ted was saying, could you imagine maybe to Toronto and the goal that finally gets them to the second round? Oh, what do you mean? You mean what will happen if we trade JVR to the Toronto Maple Leafs? Because that's exactly what will happen. It'll be like Game 7 in double overtime, and JVR will score the winning goal. This will finally end on curse. That's exactly how that'll go.
It never happened before.
Yeah, but there's a first time for everything. So, hey, Anthony's saying Mandy Rose don't care about wrestling because she is making lots of money without wrestling. And she was fired because Snitch or Matt Bloom, Albert, basically told the HB Sloth about what Mandy Rose was doing. Huh. Interesting. Shawn Michaels about Mandy Rose's accounts, and they fired her over. Interesting. You gotta love high school. Let's see here.
I'm not worried about that. She's making plenty of money either way. I don't feel bad for her.
Plus, honestly, she'll probably find work anyway in the wrestling business because there'll be companies that don't give 2 fucking shits.
She'll go to AEW.
Eric's saying, yeah. I'm down for 5 picks in the first round, but I don't trust Fletcher to do the right thing. That's where I cannot trust Fletcher at all. I mean, I get it. It's like the trades he's made, they've been done. I think the Ristolainen one is probably the best one to throw at him nowadays because that one was, he really wasn't worth the value there. The one with Ellis, that's going to sting for a bit, but that one was more of everything fell apart when he got hurt, and that was the end of it, basically, right then and there. That one's more of a victim of circumstance, whereas the Ristolainen one was, you probably should have saw this coming. But other than that, though,
that Nashville won that
I can
trade
understand that.
with Connor Glass. Think about it. Ryan Ellis.
But
Ryan
even
Ellis is
so,
on the LTIR here, and he's hurt. And then you got Nolan Patrick in Vegas, who hasn't played more than 5 games for them. I don't think he's even played a game for them this year yet.
No,
is it weird that Connor Glass was the winner of that deal?
Very weird.
Just saying. Who would have thought? The world we live in.
Nashville.
Jeez.
Where do we live in a world where Nashville is able to? Nashville's able to one up the Flyers and one up the Vegas Golden Knights, and they really didn't have to give up anything to do it. It's like, well, that's the world we live in these days. Let's see. High-end talent is the word everyone. High-end talent.
I know. I get it. I see what
and
they're
then the
saying,
final one. Do you guys think,
no talent.
Atkinson or
Atkinson? Yes.
Do you guys
Ellis,
think
no.
Atkinson or Ellis ever plays for this team again? Yeah, I think Ellis is done. Atkinson is we'll see what, but that's anyway. So. Was there any notes you wanted to throw out there for the Flyers before we move on to the third period?
I think we pretty much covered it, at least everything that I'm aware of. Let's go Ducks.
All right then.
Get that loss.
So on to the third period, brought to you by FanUp, the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. And if you want to make a little money on the side, it might be a little late for you to the NFL, but maybe not, because there are daily NFL contests and plenty more. You can win great prizes if you sign up today and use the promo code A2D, and that's a 5,000 bonus point value. So that's a $50 value right there. That's a really, really good deal. So all you got to do is go to fanup.app and cash on the side. And everybody out there in the fam who's been throwing it here and there, answer, what have you. We love you guys. Thank you very much for doing that. And you guys are brought to you by looking to buy or sell changing career or brokerage. You can contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. You plan on moving out, you want to do it right, so go to Alan Foy. Third period time, and it is time to go around the league to talk about what's been happening out there. Teams have been making some splashes or scoring update. Either way we go, any major things around the league that you want to talk about?
Yeah, what's up with your boy, Matty? Thomas Hurdle suspended for 2 games after high-sticking Flames forward Elias Lindholm. Seeing a lot of suspensions so far this season.
The Flames and Sharks don't like each other.
Yeah.
The Flames and the Sharks do not like each other. Not good. Yeah. They really hate each other. Which, because you would think, like, really? These two hate each other? And then you think, like, oh, yeah, there's a history of these two not liking each other. So it makes sense. It makes total sense. And just got into one hell of a fight, too, as well. So that was also pretty nice, too.
I mean, I'm looking for stuff, but I don't necessarily think there's really anything that's been too crazy that we're talking about. I mean, other than some of these trade rumors here, there's been really not a whole lot going on. I mean, we had a couple trades over the last couple days that haven't been really – they're not earth-shattering moves. Avalanche traded Drayden Hunt to the Maple Leafs for Dennis Malgin. That was
they're
under the radar move. And then you have a three-team deal from yesterday, which I hate this deal. I'm just going to lead off with that. I hate this deal.
Because the player you got.
No, Joel, you're going to like this one, Maddie. You're going to like this one. Pove, you know where I'm going with this. Anaheim trades Danny O'Regan to Detroit. Detroit trades Giovanni Smith to Florida. And guess who comes back to Anaheim for his second tour of duty?
MDZ,
Michael Del Zotto.
the only man with a higher libido.
Brilliant decision. Matt.
He's got a higher libido than everybody. He must have missed his SoCal girls, man. I don't blame him.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. He was listening to Katy Perry's California Girls and he got nostalgic, so he was demanding a trade. That's what it was.
Well, I mean, I kind of understand the move and what Anaheim's trying to do there. But, I mean, you bring him in, leadership. I mean, he's going to spend a lot of time in San Diego, so he's going to get some of the younger guys ready to go, like Owen Zellweger, who's a big prospect for Anaheim. There's a couple other guys down there, too, as well. But he's also adds a little bit of depth, too. So I understand the move on that aspect. I'm so over Michael Del Zotto. and then I don't understand what Pat Verbeek is doing right now. I don't. You bring in Jason Megna, who has no points in 12 games this year. You claim him off waivers. You let Elias Tolvanen go to Seattle, and then you trade for Michael Del Zotto? I don't get it. Unless
Brilliant.
Trying to bring in
I see what he's doing. He's masterful at the rebuild.
I mean, I'm trying to be patient and look at the big picture here.
Anthony,
but
and your question was MDZ still playing those California girls? That's how he's still playing.
He's playing with us.
His libido gets him up and running.
He was playing around with them Southern Florida girls for a little bit, and now he's get to go to SoCal. He's got a nice life there, man. I'm not even mad.
You wonder why he didn't play great for the Flyers. It's because he just didn't like the Philly girls. That's what his problem was.
I mean, have you seen some of those cretins?
That's why he didn't work out here.
There's some cretins in the city, bro. You go to South Florida, you go to Southern California, you got beautiful women there. You go to Philly. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some beautiful women in Philly. Don't get it twisted. There's some beautiful girls in Philly. You got some monstrosities in there too. Bunch of, you get a bucket of yuck, and it's just horrible.
Meanwhile, Rob is like, I got no comment.
Sorry. Misogynist at heart over here. They're all beautiful on the inside. It's just the outside I'm worried about sometimes.
Cold-blooded.
Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Damn, Anthony went full. Anthony went fucking nuts. You thought your comments were bad. You just said MDZ doesn't like Philly because dogs. So like, damn, bro. Whoo. He went.
Me and Ant and me and Ted on the same page on this one. Let's fucking go. I love it. Could be a problem though.
Oh man.
Right.
So with that said, by the way, I made a bet with my buddy that Ovechkin would break the record with Gretzky's record. You guys think he passes Gretzky? I think he does.
I don't think it's a question at this point. As long as he keeps up his pace, and even if he slows down, like I don't know what number he's at now. I kind of lost track. I know of our last show, he had to keep the pace up of 33 for the next 3 years. And it actually wound up being 98 just after we signed off. So it was about 33 for the next 3 years. And it's all going to depend on what he finishes with this year, on how quickly he does it. He's going to do it. There's a potential, if he does keep going and he does maintain a steady pace, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I think this is less likely to happen than him breaking Gretzky's record. It's him breaking 1,000 goals in his career. There's a possibility of it. Not a great possibility, but there's a possibility. He just has to maintain the pace. And it's only 33 goals. That's easy for him. And I think Jackie Redmond said, if he finishes with 52 goals this year, it brings it down to averaging 22 goals over the next 3 years.
Yeah, he's still at the 800 mark that we saw him hit last show.
Okay, so he hasn't had any since last week?
Right.
Okay, so yeah, 33.
Yeah, it's still very attainable.
Still,
best goal
though.
scorer of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's That's an amazing feat. You would not have thought that Gretzky would have gotten broken as quickly as it seems, but it's amazing with some talent that comes out. Like you would figure after Gretzky set that record, after he retired and everything, you think, okay, there's no way that somebody's touching that anytime soon. It hasn't been that much time, because Ovechkin came into the league in 2004. Oh, no, not 2004. He came in 2007. I think it was 07 he came into the league. Yeah, he came into the league in 07 because he got drafted in he got drafted in 04. And then there wasn't a season in 05. And then and him and Crosby debuted in the league at the same time. So that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah, they were in different drafts too. I think Crosby was the year before or the year after.
Year after, Ovechkin was 04, and then Crosby was 05. Oh, by the way, here's a fun fact for you. I love him. Guess who was the other team that could have gotten Crosby, but they didn't.
It was the Flyers, wasn't it?
Nope. It's one other team. Well, everybody had a shot, but there was two teams that had the best shot. The Penguins were one, and there was one other that had an even better chance, but didn't get him.
East or West?
West team.
Oh, don't tell me Anaheim.
Yeah, it was Anaheim.
Like we got the Twins in 05, so we got Getzlaf and Perry that year. I think it was 05. That should have been 05. Or it was either them or it was Bobby Ryan we got in 05. No, it was Bobby Ryan in 05, and then I think we got Perry and Getzlaf in 06. I think they were the 06 draft class. Oh, I wasn't even looking down. Yeah, we did get Bobby Ryan that year.
It paid off. Still got a cup out of it.
Mm-hmm. And Bobby Ryan was really good for Anaheim too. He was really good. He was a steady 30-goal scorer for them. Made a huge impact, but after he left, it's a shame because you know what? Some personal issues drug his career down.
Yeah, man, but you never know how things could go. But yeah, that is true. Always keep Bobby Ryan sobriety in my prayers.
Same.
They draft Ovi. You're talking potential dynasty there in Anaheim. That's the difference maker.
Absolutely. Even Getzlaf and Perry were difference makers too, but
yeah,
Ovi's just a whole nother monster. Like Ovi is hands down. Like, all right, so Maddie said that we're surprised to see somebody like this breaking Gretzky's record. Like Ovi is such a one-dimensional player.
No, I'm not saying surprised that it's. No. I mean, being that I meant the time period. I thought there would be way more time between somebody getting close to that. I did not expect Ovi to pop into the league in 2005, 06, and then all of a sudden he's making a Gretzky. You know what I mean? Like, I thought there'd be way more time. I thought we might be looking at a situation where somebody probably wasn't getting close to that until maybe I thought it'd be a lot more time before someone was getting close to Gretzky. But
and it just goes to show you how good of a goal scorer he is.
Career and now getting there. Right. Goes to show you that.
But here's the crazy part.
And in a league where goal scoring went down too.
Well, goal scoring is on its way back up, which is why we're seeing a lot of goalies with a lower save percentage. If you look at a lot of these goalies, their save percentages are down from last year, or they're around about the same, because the goal scoring is going up. I don't know if you guys noticed that. We're seeing more 4, 5, 6 goal games this year. But with Ovechkin, he went from 700 goals to 800 goals, and I think it was like 152 games. That's a crazy pace.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the actual number of games,
That
but I
is
know it
just
was
crazy.
he did it in under 200 games. I know he did it in under 175 games. I know that. And now he's 100 goals off the pace. Like,
That's fucking
wow.
crazy.
Best goal scorer we'll ever see. But he's also extremely
That
one-dimensional.
is crazy.
He doesn't like to pass the puck. He's a shoot-first player, and that's why he's the greatest goal scorer. He's got that shoot-first mentality, and I don't hate it.
And Ted's saying, if we didn't have all the expansion teams, do you think of B in Gretzky's ballpark? Honestly, I don't even know if that necessarily would have anything to do with it. I think Ovi is just that good of a player. You know, I don't really think it matters because whether you have a talented goalie, you know, been in a league where goal scoring went down in the prime of Ovechkin's career, goal scoring was down. I still don't think it really that good. You know, like if he can score on anybody. You know, you could have had Waugh in his prime, he would have scored on him. You could have had Hasek in his prime, he would have scored on him. You could have had Berger in his prime, he would have scored on him. You know, he scored on long play. Doesn't matter. Talented or not, expansion teams or not, I think Ovi still would have managed to get up pretty high.
Is Rocco Grimaldi in the lineup tonight? Am I seeing that right? Sorry. Yes, that's an interesting move. But yeah, no, I don't necessarily think it's the number of teams that either. I just think it's the style of the NHL. I think it's the style of the NHL over the amount of teams. It just worked out, and the style of the league right now just works out in Ovi's favor. But you can't take away what he's doing.
Right.
I feel goals would understand. Yeah, I think that would too. To be completely honest with you, because that's what killed goals. That's what killed goal scoring in the first place. Thank you, New Jersey, for inventing the fucking trap. You fucking assholes. You just no one ever wanted you ruined hockey on top of it.
Well, you also got to think too. The pads are smaller, the goals are bigger. The NHL is doing what they can to try and make this league, you know, more offensive. So it's not just a trap, or it's not just a trapezoid behind the net. There's a lot of other things. Goals are a little bit bigger, and the pads are smaller than they used to be too. So, and then you also got the hybrid goalie style. That's different. The league is just different from what it used to be.
True. All right, so gents, we move on to our. Oh, wait a minute. Is there anything else?
Nope.
Okay, then. And we move on to you by our good over at. Wow, come on. Don't be slow now. Work, computer. Thank you. Always at the end of the show. It's going to do it. Actually, I would like it if it never does it. But anyway, Alonzi Travel, specializing at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Let their talented team of travel experts create a custom vacation for you. It can be quite annoying, and it can just wear on you to the point where it's just like, man, I am overwhelmed, I am overworked, I am burnt out, I am tired. And you know what? Alonzi Travel's there to say, well, we can fix that for you. You let us take care of all the annoying little details, and you just focus on packing and planning out your vacation, and you're off. So you make sure you have the vacation of your dreams. All right, then. Gentlemen, let us dive in. I mean, we open it up with, since we're getting a little closer to the All-Star game, we're still about a month away, but be fun to throw this out there anyway. Who will be the Flyers All-Star? Or will the Flyers have an All-Star?
I want Rob to go first
Wow.
because he was pinpointing
It's
something
them.
on that one.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, I think every
Sure.
team has to be represented, no?
Yep.
So
Right.
this is a no-brainer for me. It's Carter Hart, no question.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement on that one.
I think he should. Yeah, Carter Hart all the way to represent the Metro as the goalie.
I could see him or I could see TK.
Hell yeah.
TK's having a really good year
All-Star
too.
games to come. TK's that's true. TK's a possibility too. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you think about it, look at the goaltending situation in this division right now. It's going to be tough for Carter to wind up as a goalie all-star, and not because of his not because of his ability or his production this year, just because you got to worry about Shesterkin, and then you got to worry about Mackenzie Blackwood, who's having a good year, and if it's not Mackenzie Blackwood, it's Vanacek, and then you have to worry about Ilya Sorokin's having a great year as well. So I totally agree that it should be Hart, but he's going to have some stiff competition this year.
Make it a rule where only Metro goalies goaltend in the All-Star game, since everybody seems to have great goaltending right now in the Metro. So,
yeah.
Let's see. Ted saying, real quick, what did you guys think about Makar calling off his own team's power play, telling the refs a trip?
I loved it.
Honest
they called
person?
the hook. They called the hook. They called a hook. I think they were playing the Islanders, and they called a hook on somebody. And Mikkel, as he was rounding back behind the net and in circle, he's like, "He didn't hook me. He didn't hook me." And watching the replay, as you see, he doesn't get hooked. He gets Makar right on the shoulder, and there was no pull at all or anything. He just tapped him on the shoulder, and that was it. Makar blew a tire because he lost his edge. So Makar got up and was just like, nah, man, there's no power play needed there. He never hooked me. He didn't hook me. So I love it. It's more respect that I have for this kid.
They say that chivalry's dead in hockey.
Hey, it's Fortright. It's honest.
See. So next up on the
You take a penalty when it's called.
Actually, if he had done that on the Flyers, they probably would have. Right. If he had done that on the Flyers, then somebody probably would have beaten his ass in the locker room. Like, you dumb son of a bitch.
No, I love it. I think we need to see more of it
here.
instead of just trying to trigger guys into a power play. I loved it. I thought that was great. It's sportsmanship.
If you're gonna get power play, you earn it. I'm just trying to be funny. I
No, I know.
Point, bro.
I'm with you. I like that idea of, that's why we keep you around.
I get paid in my jokes.
Let's go to
Which, by the way, you've exceeded your limit tonight. You don't get paid for overtime.
There's no limit. Rob has infinite.
Oh, man.
So, next up on the shootout segment, this is actually why I wrote this down on the email, because I almost forgot. This is something I wanted to bring up. There were some meetings with the owners and the commissioner of the NHL. They are in rotation with possibly expanding the schedule again to 84 games, like it used to be back in the early 90s and the 80s. So the proposal would have you facing your rivals or your division rivals 8 times a season, as opposed to the 4 that you currently have right now. Sometimes you only times, because the thing is that most owners want every single team in their building during the season. if you expand 84 rivals 8 times, and then you face off with your conference opponents that are out of your division 6 times, that kind of destroys the possibility of you playing every single team during the season. Because that's a lot of games that are eaten up by your division and your outer division opponents in your conference. So, thoughts and opinions on that. But secondly, as well, the shootout question is: should NHL rivals face each other 8 times a season? We have this when we had that pandemic year. So, gentlemen, I think Rob's already showing his love of that.
Yes. Yeah. You know, what's funny is that this is the polar opposite of what the MLB is doing right now. And by facing your rivals, and I hope that their definition of rivals means people in your division, you should be playing them more. And I don't give a fuck about playing everybody. I don't care if the first time you're facing a team is in the Stanley Cup final. That's what sports is all about. You play your division game should matter more because that's what you're trying to come out of to make the playoffs during the regular season. To go back to 84 games like it used to be, man, finally a Gary Bettman decision that I could get on board.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I actually like the idea of having
All right.
the division rivals in 8 times a year, because that's the way it should be. And then they should figure it out like the other sports, and maybe have obviously you play Metro guys. What is that? That's going to wind up being what 8 times 8, with 64 games or something like that. 64 of your games are against your division
Rivals.
8
like
times
that?
7.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought it
Oh,
was
yeah, 8
18
times
in the
7.
Metro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'd be 8 times 7. Yeah. Sorry.
No. But you're not including you.
Right. That's my thing. I was including the Flyers.
No, I got you.
So it'd be 56.
Right.
You figure out another division and you kind of plug in accordingly, because that would be what if you do 84. Hang on, I'm going to pull out my
28.
calculator real quick. You got to fill 84 minus 56. You have to fill 28 games. So you could probably you could fit a full division in there. Maybe you do 2 divisions. You face one on the road and one at home. It's kind of similar to what baseball does.
Yeah.
Where you split it. Yeah, I think I'm about that. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, from what I heard, most of the ownership groups are all on board on this and extending it to 84, and then playing your division 8 times. And that also creates more of a playoff atmosphere in your building.
Oh, I see. So it would be 4 less games, though. Like you would have, so you'd have, let's say you're playing one at home and home with the other division within your conference. So now it's 16 games, and then just 1 game against both the Pacific and the Central. That would be 32. So it'd be 4. You wouldn't have 4 games to get it in, but maybe you don't play a home and home with some of the teams in the other division either.
Right.
To get the whole, that's how you'd make what you're suggesting work. And I think it can be doable.
No, I totally think it's doable. You just, obviously you would have to take 4 teams out. So you'd be 4 games over.
Right.
So you just, I mean, even in baseball, you're not playing every team in that division.
Right.
So maybe you just figure out how the schedule would work best. Like, so maybe if the Flyers wind up playing the Pacific Division, you go through Canada and then you bring in another division. Maybe you go through the Central and you play a couple of the Central teams, Colorado, St. Louis, Detroit, try and keep everybody in the region.
There you go.
Instead of going from, maybe you do LA, Anaheim, San Jose, and go to Seattle, and then you bring it back.
Yep.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, because you don't have to, if you miss a team, 4 teams, big whoop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to face everybody, just like football. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah,
Right, exactly. Football is another good example.
right.
Eric was saying you should play you play biggest rivals 8 times. Ted was saying playing your division more means team it as fast, and maybe we can put the playoff brackets back to the 2009-2010 format, which would mean the 1 through 8. I don't think they would change the playoff format though. I think the playoff format would still stay divisional with 2 wild cards. I don't think there was no talks of changing the playoff system. So
Yeah, I think they want to have
then
these rival games because of that. Because in order to get into the playoffs, you have to clear your division. You have to try to be in with the top 3.
Right.
Yep.
Right. You know, and obviously the reason with the wild cards in there is that they wanted to give it an opportunity for other teams to make it, and it could be 2 teams from the same want to do the top 4 like in the 80s, where it was a smaller league, so you get away with it, where you only have 4 teams make the playoffs per division. You just played your division until you got to the conference final. So clearly they wanted to do more opportunities, but yeah, I mean, was I a huge fan of this? In one way I was, in one way I wasn't. I liked the 1 through 8 because I felt it was a little bit more fair, because sometimes you get a team that's not as good, but yet they make it because they got in on a wild card that they probably shouldn't have got in on. And also a team that made it because they got 3rd place in a weak division. And that kind of sucks. Whereas 1 through 8, if you're not one of the top 8 teams, you're fucked. There were a couple times where a 3rd seed was really a 3rd seed because they were in a shit division. But they had 3 divisions, so that would change things up a little bit. Anyway, that was just a brief talk of that with the ownership and the commissioner. We'll see if there's any more talks about that. There probably will be roll around, or maybe a little bit of it in the playoffs. But I think mostly when the offseason rolls around, we'll hear about it way more. If that's going to be in actually 84 games. Okay, then. And now our final part, hot take of the week. Gentlemen, what's your hot take?
Let me go. Hopefully Johnny's still with us. Reporters who say the Flyers may buy out Kevin Hayes' contract are clickbait fuckfaces. That makes 0 sense. 0. None.
I agree. You buy him out now, you're paying for him for 6 years.
6 years.
Imminent? Like, I think they said it was inevitable. I'm sorry, not imminent. It was inevitable.
Yeah.
No, nothing. That is not inevitable. You just must be your first time watching hockey. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You're talking about a buyout in the best offensive year that he's had. He's the best offensive player that the Flyers have right now. And you're talking about an inevitable buyout of the best player? Are you serious? Stop it.
Yeah, let's just pay 50% of some guys. Let's pay 50% of some guy's contract for 6 years. That's like on par with having to trade a draft pick with a player to get rid of their contract. Oh, we did that.
I would still rather do that than pay a guy 50% over the next 6 years. It's stupid.
True.
It's stupid. Go cover golf. Like, that's actually, you know what? Go cover tennis. It's easier for you.
Ted saying buyout Ellis would make more sense. He's got 2 years left, and you don't put yourself in the hole. Yeah, okay. Years left. Not a bad idea.
He's got 4 years left.
4? Oh,
sure
okay.
it's
Never
4.
mind.
I think he had 6 years when he got traded here.
Shit.
I'm double checking that, but I'm pretty sure
If he's got 4 years left, then fuck that. No, we're not doing that. No.
Nobody can put it on long-term IR and
flush that one down the toilet.
Yeah, Robbie. I hear you on that. Yeah, Ellis has actually he's got 5 more years.
Oh, okay.
Including this year. That's $6.5 million. I mean, odds are he's probably not going to play anymore anyway, so he's going to stay on the LTIR for a while, and then he's going to probably just wind up retiring. Unless he retires immediately, and we obviously don't know that one. But yeah, he's got 5 years, including this year.
Every day I pray that
if
Comcast.
he does retire, I'm going.
If he
Go
does
ahead, Rob.
retire, if he does retire, continue your point.
Oh no! I was gonna just say go ahead. Lag, sorry.
That's okay, man. I was going to say something that had nothing to do with the conversation, but every day I pray that Comcast has to claim bankruptcy, so they have to sell the team to a group led by Chris Tarian. Go on.
I wouldn't hate it.
Comcast
never heard of her.
Comcast should have to hire Donald Trump so they could go bankrupt.
Wow. I'll hate it.
Okay. So hot take of the week for me will be that Kevin Hayes will be the Flyers All-Star. Not Konechny or Hart. It'll be Kevin Hayes instead.
I'd ask you what you're smoking, but you're straight edge.
I mean, yeah, I got nothing on that one.
Because this league makes no sense. The All-Star is a popularity contest. And who are you going to roll with? The big name or you're probably going to roll with the guy everybody knows. So that's just how it rolls there in the NHL.
Coming into tonight, he was leading the team in points, so maybe I adjust too harshly.
I mean, they could name Ellis the Flyers All-Star and just have them not represented. It's so bad they want.
Yeah, I like
be honest
Ryan.
with you,
I
I
like
wouldn't be
that
mad.
comment here.
It's like, do we?
I like that.
Ellis
comment.
is like that
Didn't he die?
player in the movie. Cross.
I love that. That's probably my second favorite baseball movie of all time. Cross him off then. Who are
All
these
right, Brian,
fucking
hot
guys?
take.
Well, Anaheim's currently on a 2-game winning streak. I'm going to say,
Oh, holy shit.
yeah, their goal differential is minus 56 right now. So, yeah, go for that one. I say Anaheim goes on a 10-game losing streak. And I'm hoping for that. And I want that. Because I want to be lower than Chicago. Chicago right now has 18 points. Anaheim has 21, I think I saw. I think they have 21 points. Chicago is 18. Let's skip below Chicago. Come on, guys. We can do this.
Chicago.
We can do this.
Chicago. 18. Bravo. Bravo, gentlemen. You have 18 points. You know how to tank. You know how
They're on
to
a
tank.
7-game losing streak.
These sons of bitches.
Oh, I was hoping Arvidsson
Good for
scored
them.
there. Damn it.
Good on you, boys. Going out and trying to get Bedard.
If the Chicago Blackhawks get Connor
All right.
Bedard, I'm gonna fly down to Houston just to leave a little paper bag with dog shit in front of Prison's house and then fly back. I'll be so mad.
And you know what's
I love
even
you,
funnier
Chris.
about that? Kane and Caves are rumored to be traded at the deadline.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they would need Bedard.
Yeah, this team knows. See, See, take notes, everybody. NHL, take notes. That's how you fucking tank. That is the proper tankage right there. You trade.
Oh, by the way,
best players in season long.
By the way, hang on real quick. I don't know if you guys have been in the Flyers groups lately. I love the people saying, "Yeah, go Flyers! This is how you tank." Especially when the news of Cam Atkinson came up, because I saw it in a couple of the posts that Robbie did. That's how you tank. Yeah, you tank by losing players for the year. I mean, last time I checked, you tank by trading away players for picks. That's not how you tank.
Good
you don't
players.
tank by injury.
Yeah.
Like what? I'm like, what? Is this your first time paying attention to hockey? Is this your first season? You're a rookie? Oh, okay. I got you.
Well, they think that they were misleading. That's the group of Flyers fans that are conspiracy theorists that think they were misleading that Cam Atkinson was going to return by the Ranger game. They don't read the news reports. They don't see that he had a setback, the nerve irritation in the neck. Every time he took a step forward, he just couldn't get over the hump, as Torts put it.
Yeah.
And he's gonna now he's just getting surgery because they wanted to string us along for a month and a half. Come on.
No, and you're absolutely right, because you know what, the admin in Flyers Nation, who I've become good acquaintances with, says the same thing all the time. Is like, because they're casual fans. They don't pay attention to much. They just want to sit there and bitch. And then half of them that are saying this shit or leaving the comments are guys that I've never seen comment on anything before.
Right.
So all the casuals are coming out of the woodwork when this shit goes down. So I get it. I'm with it.
It's a bunch of Eagles fans that want to say they're 4 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
But yet they're better fans.
I mean, no disrespect, but I say that it's the Eagles fans, but that's what it is.
But again, they're better fans than I am. Whatever that means.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. All right. Let's wrap this shit up. Let's go. I'm hungry.
All right, gents. That'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. We thank everybody for tuning in, all the fam who chimed in tonight on the chat. And Merry Christmas or a Happy Hanukkah or Passover or whatever. Not Passover, but still, point is, happy celebrating, happy holidays. Enjoy family, have tons, spend it with the people you care about. And if you have to work on that day, tell your boss to go fuck himself. Because it's Christmas. And, that's your little personal Christmas gift to them. So, anyway, guys, we'll see you next week.
For yourself is going to be unemployment.
Happy. Gotta treat ourselves. In the end, we have no game to react to next week, I think. No game to react to. So we'll come up with something. It'll be interesting. Maybe we'll do a midway look at the teams in the NHL and we'll give them grades, or we'll take a look at how these teams have been playing so far, getting closer to the half of the season.
I think that's a great idea. It's during the Christmas break. I don't think any team is playing for that 4-day stretch, I believe. So it would be a great midway point.
Yeah, early look. Absolutely. I'm about it.
So, all right then. So we'll take a look in the halfway point of the season. We'll take a look at these guys and we'll see. Looking real good right now. What teams might be on the cusp of starting to come back down to earth, or are some teams just going through the motions because they're going to make the playoffs, or they're going through the motions because they're shit. We'll talk about that next week. All right, guys. Happy holidays. Peace and love, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And, we'll see you next week for our halfway point. Peace and love, everyone.
Merry Christmas, y'all.